Hi, this is Eve Marlowe with LoveWorthy, and we are going to share our worst date experiences. We're ready to spill the beans. I was on a date, and this guy picks me up. He is a personal driver, so we're both in the back seat. And he does a silent but very deadly fart, okay? I mean, I have never smelled a fart like this, ever. Like, it smelled like he was eating something bad. Like, it was, like, toxic. Like, maybe he should have been in the hospital, you know? And I was like, first I didn't want to embarrass him, so I, like, didn't say anything. So I was like, hey, we should, like, roll the windows down, right? And he's like, it's a little cold outside. I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh, are you talking about the gas? He's like, I'm sorry. I drank this like protein shake and it really messed up my stomach. And like my eyes were like tearing up. And I was like on the side of this door, like latched on. And I really should have just rolled down the window and been like, fuck you, I'm rolling down the window. But I just was so shocked. I honestly, now looking back on it, I think it was like a fetish thing. I don't know, like, right? Because why would you do that?
God.
Why would you, right? Like, why would you, why?
The good old tear gas kink. The tear gas kink.
Yeah. Like, I think he must have been into it because I don't understand why you wouldn't roll down the window and like, it wasn't even an apology. It was like, oh yeah, I drank a protein shake. And he did like, and he did more. And there was more. Guess what? Spoiler alert, he ended up being a huge douchebag.
Oh, well, there you go.
There was the universe.
Who would have thought, right? Tori, hit me with it.
Okay, so what I thought was like the worst date experience for me and my partner never celebrated my birthday before. He takes me out to the Moth Museum in Vegas. I love history and stuff. And we're having a great time. And then afterwards, we walk back out to the truck. And the truck is gone. It's not there where we left it, and I was freaking out. I was like, this is why I never celebrate my birthday. You know, I started catastrophizing. I was like, the fucking car is gone and stolen. And we keep walking around the building, and he's like, no, it's okay. And I was like, well, we have to find it. And turns out the truck was there, and there were tea lights and candles and like a pathway that led up, and then there were some that said happy birthday. And I got in, and there was like rose petals all over the truck, and he had like my favorite wine, and it was like a really good night. But at first I was like,
wait, that's your worst date story.
It's the worst.
It's a good one. All right, I'm gonna have to talk
What? Okay. That was okay. I get it though. It was like, you know, it's the sour and sweet thing. Okay, at least if that was your worst, like
that was the worst.
You have a good picker. You must have a good. You have a good picker for sure because let me tell. Did he fart?
He farts all the time.
Oh, he's
But I actually love it. I'm like, oh my little fart blossom.
It's not a true relationship unless you can do that in front of your partner and actually be like, aww.
Okay, now that we're done talking about respectful farting, Christopher, why don't you tell me about your worst date?
All right, I'm gonna have to go way back for this one. So I'm gonna have to liven this one back up again. All right, so back in my modeling days, I remember meeting this girl at the clubs, and so I took her out. You know, we were hanging out the whole time. She ends up saying, I need to go back to my house real fast. So I drive her back by her house. She runs inside real quick because I'm waiting down the driveway, and she comes back out. This guy's out the door just yelling at her, and I go, and she gets in the car. She goes, let's go. And I go, who was that? She goes, that was my husband. And I was like, oh okay. So I end up driving back out, taking off, and then pull around the corner. I go, I can't do this. I'm sorry. She's like, what's the problem? I'm like, there's no problem. The problem is that your husband, you just walked out the door and this like from there. So I'm going to leave that up as my worst one. I'm sure there's probably a lot top 10.
Did she tell you that she was?
No, nothing. No, nothing at all. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh
what
my
the hell?
gosh.
So that's one of many. So
yeah, you know what? That's kind of a thing. I feel like I've been on one of those dates too, where the person's like, I'm married, but I don't mean in the
front door.
But seeing them. Wait, he's waving his fist.
I thought he was doing that. He's waving his fist. I go, oh, who was that? I thought it was her roommate or something. No, he was pissed.
So she's running
he
from him.
He was pissed, like because she had been out. She was a little snockered or whatever, but she was just like, that was my husband, let's go. And that
before
was
he
it.
like comes and beats your ass.
Well, whatever it was, that's why I left before I think I got to my senses and pulled over around the corner.
I have never. At least tell me beforehand, like what I'm getting into.
Thank you very much. Right?
Right,
So yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I thought I was having my cougar moment, but sure enough,
Oh, you were.
I was.
You were.
With the whole brood of the lion and everything else
Yeah.
behind it. So that's one.
That's bad. That's you dodged a bullet on that one. I
did.
feel like.
I sure did. That's why I went around the corner.
Did you drive fast? Or were you like?
No, you're a chihuahua.
Pedal to the metal.
Here you go. All right.
Right.
Well, thanks for sharing your stories.